The G Wade Podcast with Deacon Dirty.
And so that when the Innocence Project, I guess, got involved, but that was what, around 1998? Was that when?
Yeah. It's crazy. My mother passed away in 1998, and because I had a life sentence, I wasn't able to go see my mother. They wouldn't allow me. My mother was 44 years old when she passed away. Bless her soul. She was 44 years old when she passed away. I was 44 years old the day I walked out of prison 4 years ago.
Yeah.
My mother was 44 years old when she passed away. I was 44 years old, 6 days from my 45th birthday, the day I walked out of prison. And the day of my mother's funeral, was the very first day I heard from the Innocence Project, believe it or not. My uncle tell a story that when my mother got there, the first thing she said, my son is innocent. She went to God and said to help my son. Mm-hmm. And I swear to you, the day of her funeral, I'm laying in my cell, pitch black cell, by myself, thinking about my mother and my family. And the guard comes through and something smacked my floor. There was a big manila envelope. And that was the first day that I ever heard from the Innocence Project.
Wow.
And another story is I sent them a letter, and when I was released, one of the employees at the Innocence Project, he told me, he said, I believe in your innocence. We received a phone call from your mother. And he said, after that phone call, he said, I was convinced that you was innocent. He said, I want you to direct us. And I begged them, please, look at this letter.
Yeah.
Take a look at this guy case.
Yeah.
And true to that, they did just that. They took a look at my case, man, and the rest is history, man. I mean, hey, man, them people is an extension of my family. I'm the 344th person that was wrongly accused and convicted of a crime. I'm the 344th exoneree. That means it was 343 people before me.
Yeah.
And just a little over 4 years now, that number is way over 500. We bringing men and women home every day. Them people at the Innocence Project, man, I could talk about them all day, man. Here, in a physical form, man, in this world. They're my guardian angels. They saved my life, man.
All right, so now in 2011, that's when they actually moved forward with testing your DNA.
Correct.
And so how did that play out?
Again, man, you got to understand, man, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, period, is one of the most corrupt places in America, man. And we litigated this DNA testing so we can be granted this DNA testing probably for about 9 years.
Wow.
So we litigated up in a higher court, in the Supreme Court, and they ruled in my favor every single time. But what they kept doing was they knew I wasn't a guy, and they knew that these people railroaded me. So what they kept doing was they kept on reprimanding my case back down to the lower court in Philadelphia.
So
and Philadelphia
kept
on denying me, kept on trying to cover it up, kept denying me, denying me. Like I told you guys a few minutes ago, this is the best evidence in the world. It says two things, yes or no, or guilty or not guilty. There's no in between. If you're sure I'm the guy that committed this crime, why are you denying me this test? That was babbling to everybody.
Right.
We can close this case right now.
Right.
Nothing else will be said. I'm in jail. I'm in prison. I'm convicted already. We can finish this case and throw my whole file away.
Yeah.
If you sure I'm the guy. So we litigated. So we have what we call a changing of the guards in Pennsylvania with the DNA, the DA. The old regime, man, they was, they was kill or kill type of people, man. The DA at that time was Lynn Abraham, the #1 DA at that time. She was the head DA. But her number one guy at that time was the guy, Roger King, and he's probably responsible for 85% of the men and women on death row in Pennsylvania today.
Dang.
So we had a changing of the guard. We had a new DA coming in by the name of Seth Williams.
Okay.
At the time that he was being sworn in, I was having a hearing in Pennsylvania. And just so happened, a coincidence, that my lawyers bumped right into this guy.
Wow.
And stopped and say, yo, you know what I mean? We're such and such. We're from New York City. We over here, we represent Anthony Wright. And he said, I'm familiar with that case. And, you know, they explained to him about the DNA testing. So he said, well, let me see what they rule. You know what I mean? So before they ruled, he called and said, you know what I mean, y'all want the test? Let's do it. Him being arrogant, let's do it. And lo and behold, you would have thought that the clothes, they would have probably trashed the clothes with the clothes. But Philadelphia again, being arrogant, they had the clothes in the locker still there.
Wow, still in evidence,
Yeah, I mean, we got a search warrant. My lawyers got a search warrant to go search for the clothes, and lo and behold, there was the clothes. We got the test. I've been waiting for this day, man. When I tell you, it seemed like all my life. Again, first and foremost, once the Innocence Project took my case, I promise you, I swear to you, the day they took my case, I felt like the case was no longer mine.
It was theirs.
You know what I mean? It felt like 1 million pounds was lifted off my shoulders. All I had to do was be patient, do what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean? To come out of there.
Yeah.
And that took probably 15, 16 years after I became a client. So we got the DNA testing. So they wanted to test. Remember now, DNA, this 2011, DNA testing is 50 times better than it was 23 years prior.
Because now they can literally detect. They can literally detect from like a drop of blood now. It don't gotta be
anything. You touch anything.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here sweating. So they wanted to test. They had a sweatshirt without a hood on it. A Chicago Bulls like polo.
Right, yeah.
They had a pair of jeans
with the suede on it. Yeah.
And a pair of feline sneakers. So they wanted to test the collar of the shirt. They did the test, and the test came back and excluded me.
Wow.
In any state in America, in any state in these United States of America, once you take that DNA test and it comes back and said it's not you, you're free to go right then and there.
Right.
So we did the test. They said, okay, that excluded them. Let's do another test. Let's test the armpits. We test the armpits, did a second test. That excluded even more. They said, okay, that excluded them. Let's do the crotch. They did the crotch of the pants. That excluded me even more. They said, okay, that excluded them. Let's do the kneecap. We did about 7 tests, bro.
Wow.
We did about 7 tests. Each test excluded me even more.
Dang.
What did they decide to do? Finally, after 23 years, they decided to bring me back to court for the first time in 23 years since I was convicted. Decided to bring me back to court and vacate my sentence. What that means is I had a life sentence and 4 to 10 years with the life sentence. They vacated my sentence. That means they took the life sentence away. I no longer was convicted with a life sentence. I no longer had 4 to 10. I no longer had all these crazy sentences outside of the life sentence. 11 to 23 months, 2 to 4 years, 1 to 3 years, 5 to 12 months, 17 to 19 months, and it all added up to 4 to 10 years. So they took all of that away, and then they revoked my bail, decided to revoke my bail and hold me additional 2 years to retry me. And I was retried 2 years later in 2016. I was acquitted in the quickest verdict in any criminal trial.
Less than an hour.
Less than a minute. The jury refused. The jury refused to deliberate. When he charged the case to the jury, The foreman said, Your Honor, is you serious? What do you want us to deliberate?
Right.
Not guilty. He said, wait. So what they did was they bought all this lunch for the jurors, and they wanted the jurors to go in the back and eat the lunch. So during the time they was eating lunch, they said that was the time they were deliberating. Came back, not guilty on everything. Not guilty first degree. How you find them in second degree? Each time the foreman read the verdict, she read it historically. How you find the defendant in first degree? She said, not guilty, Your Honor. How you find the defendant? She said, not guilty. How do you find it in third degree? She almost lost her, jumped to the ceiling and said, not guilty. And the judge refused to let me go home with my family. He said, take him to jail one more time. Let his family and y'all go get him from the jail. I told my lawyer, I said, I don't care. I know I'm coming home tonight. Take me back to the jail. And my family and my whole family, my whole entire family and all my legal team came and picked me up from the county jail.
Yeah. And that was on August 23rd.
August 23rd, 2016.